All right, let's begin. Hello everyone. Our group includes Xinyi Li, Zhangshipan Feng, Shuli Lin, Wang, Jiaming Wu. This presentation will focus on the emergency situation that Kintore, Australia is facing. We will analyze information about Kintore Aboriginal community and present few cultural facts. We will describe the nature and the severity of emergencies faced by the Kintore community, the problems encountered and available solutions, and also introduce the government and humanitarian organizations which provide assistance. The first 4 pages will introduce the information about Kintore community, about the location, about population, about geography informations. Here, let's invite the first speech to talk about nature and safety of emergency scenario. Please go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Xinyi Li. So I'm gonna present this part. So this part we're gonna focus on the nature and the severity of emergency scenario in Kintore. And this is a very significant part for us to go further about this research. We have divided into a few different emergency scenarios. So the first one is the bushfire, which are very common in Australia. Those fires are unpredictable and difficult to control. Secondly, I would like to talk about the severe storm. In Kintore, most rainfalls during the period are from December to March, but occasionally storms occurred at other time of the year. Rainfall may cut access to unsealed roads for up to 7 days at a time. And the third one is flooding. Floods are the most frequent type of natural disaster. A flood hazard includes a flood threat to the township, housing, and infrastructure of the communities and the surrounding outstation within the Kintore districts. Furthermore, transport incidents. So what is a transport incident? Transport incidents refer to the aircraft, motor vehicle, and the rail accidents. Those incidents are of an impact nature with a little or no lead time. With the exception of the maintaining infrastructure, no mitigation can be put in place. At last, hazardous material incident. The definition of hazardous material incident is a large quantity of hazardous material transported daily by road to many centers throughout the Northern Territory. The severity of hazardous incidents encompass a wide range of potential situations, include fire, spills, explosion, and chemical reaction. They may include toxicity, flammability, radiologic hazardous, corrosive, and explosive, and as such can threaten the health and the safety of the attending authorities and members of the public. So here's my part.
All right, it's my turn. I will talk about problems that were encountered during the emergency response. During the last speaker's talking, we know it is true that there are many emergency situations in the Kintore area, but there are a variety of problems encountered during emergency response. The first is firebush. The firebush is producing an undesirable effect in an area. This may cause concern to public, something like smoke, regional temperature increase, vegetation destruction, and air pollution. They are also greatly increase the difficulty to rescue and assistance. The second one is severe storms. It can be quite localized and developed quite quickly. The exact location of severe storms can be hard to predict. Due to the nature to severe storms, there will likely to be multiple incident schemes. The last one is a hazardous material incident. Large quantities of hazardous materials are transported daily by road to many centers throughout the Northern Territory, and as a consequence, any release or spills could easily result in the loss of life. Widespread distribution, danger to communities, and the threat to the environment. Hazardous materials are uncertain, and in the case of a hazardous material leak, handing and assistance can become extremely dangerous and inefficient, while causing a large amount of collateral damage, and the post-processing could become difficult and need a very long time. This is my part. Next, let's invite the next speaker to talk about government or humanitarian organization who delivered aid.
Okay, hello everyone. Here is a list about government or humanitarian organization who delivered aid. Acting Superintendent Pauline Vickery from Alice Springs said, "We are working with our emergency management team to continue to get those houses assessed so we can get people back into their homes as soon as possible. Coordination and management is Northern Territory Police. Damaged public buildings, coordination and inspections, Department of Infrastructure, Planning and Logistics. Emergency Operations Center, including Web Emergency Operations Center. Recovery Coordination Center is primary is P2P Homeland Health Service, and secondly is Kintore School Library. Financial relief assistance payments of National Disaster Relief and Recovery Assistance is Department of the Chief Minister and Cabinet. Critical goods and service like food, bottle gas, camping equipment, building supplies is community stores. Local control centers will be established as required by local controllers to provide a central focus to the management, control, and coordination of emergency operations in the district. The Regional Emergency Operations Center will be located in Alice Springs at the Damian Clifton Center as per the Southern Region Emergency Plan. Okay, here are my part.
Let's go next part. Please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ethan Wong. In response to these disasters, emergency teams first assess the identified risks and then take a series of strategies. These include initial responses, evacuation of the affected population, and post-disaster recovery. The steps for evacuation are decision, warning, withdraw, shelter, and return. The measures taken at the first time are very important to alleviate the disaster. I will introduce the strategies for three common disasters. Leaking hazmat could easily result in the loss of life, widespread disruption, danger to communities, and a threat to the environment. The initial response will be coordinated by the NAF assistance from the Kintore local net volunteer unit. The local controller will determine the appropriate agency to continue with the primary response given the nature of the incident. Next page, please. Bushfires within the Kintore district will be managed by bushfire ants. The initial response will be conducted by the landholder until the landholder is unable to control the fire, or when they are instructed to hand over control to bushfire ants. The first senior officer from the Hazard Management Authority will assume incident control under the ants. Severe storms can be quite localized and develop quite quickly. The exact location of severe storms can be hard to predict, so the initial response to severe storm incidents will involve reconnaissance of the scene to ascertain the severity of damage and to prioritize the events. Kintore Volunteer Unit will provide storm damage response with assistance from other Southern Region volunteer units as required.
So it's my part. Okay, the next one we were talking about the interesting unique culture in the Kintore. The firstly, I want to introduce you can see the Kintore style of painting is characterized by the bright, bold colors, often the traditional red, yellow, white, and black. And the painting's pattern always based on the land is flora and the methodologies. So next page, please. So as I do some research, I found that people in the Kintore was very conservative thinking, which is kind of like the female inferiorities. It means that at the first only senior male allowed to paint. Later, more and more female try to grab the brushes and paint. So that's the reason I mentioned this artist, Ningura. Ningura was the one of the 8 Australian indigenous artists to be commissioned in 2003 to collaborate to produce artwork to be permanently installed in the Musée du Brandy in Paris, France. And her work was painted in the halfway ceiling of this museum. I think she's a very good example for women in the Kintore to chase their rights and show their ability as good as men. So next page, please. And then we move on. The next one is their traditional medicine. I showed how they making their medicine process. So firstly, this magic ointment, just like the Lucas papaya ointment that we can buy in the chemist, the red tube. And for the making process, firstly, the knowledgeable elderly people will look for special bushes that is used as a healing remedy. And then they are pumped and ground down the leaves in the bushes and then put into the mixture of the hot oil and the wax. While still hot, poured into the jar to sap. You can see the number 4 step. It's just like the honey, but it looks like but it's the ointment. And these people use this cure ointment to rub and massage all over the body, helping with all sorts of itches and pains. So next page, please. So let's move on the third cultural fact, that is, maybe people will wonder how they hold their party to kill time. Here it is. Firstly, they will select a good time, which is not too hot and food isn't on. Women can to or allowed to go for the bush picnic after the finished housework. Secondly, they will hunt in the desert to find a good barbecue materials. You can see the meat or something. Later, they use the sticks to make fire. When fire's out, buried and braise the vegetable like potatoes or something in the oil with really low heat, drink and chatting with each other. So these 3 cultural facts. That's all. Thank you. That's all. Yeah.
Here is a separate reference list. All right, that's all about our presentation. Thank you for your attendance.